in front of all my friends and family.
I thought we went back in time and we're like listening to Shiva again.
Sorry, that was my phone. I was very confused.
John, I know you wish you could do that. I know you miss my voice, and that's why you call me so much.
Yeah. I'm just letting people know we have right now 4 people here. We
Tell them you're disappointed in him.
have
Sorry,
Mother disappoint all of his children.
4 people, and John and I are very disappointed.
Oh, okay. I'm disappointed too.
You say your father and I are very disappointed.
Aren't you disappointed?
I'm not mad.
There's 4 people here.
You need to raise your bars. You need to set higher expectations. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Guys, I will do this. We will start the call, like the content and everything at 9:10. Thank you so much for showing up. Today, we're going to talk about sales team management. But at the same point, the idea behind this call is pretty much talk about general things like small tips that might help you along the day. So I didn't actually dig gold. I just look up a little bit on Google and I try to remind myself of my previous experiences in sales teams. So we won't be talking about sales techniques or about how to sell a product. It's about how you engage other people, how you set an environment where people perform sales, which is something that you need to start preparing right now, since you have like your teams in forming stage. So that's the idea. If you have any questions along the call, you can text. I think that would be like the best way. You can just text this group, and as soon as I see it, I'm gonna answer. Patish? Cool? Awesome. So let's do this. You can turn off your mics, please, and I'm going to share my screen with you. So just confirm, do you see my presentation? Awesome. I'm gonna give you the material of the slides after the call. Okay, so you can follow up with me now. I figured acknowledge. I think we can. You can share this. Just by my screen, we can follow it up. Guys, what's the idea behind the call? It's about who isn't a great role model. How dare you? Who knows it? He's amazing. He got an Oscar. Have you ever won an Oscar?
Wait, what's the question?
No, but his character. I'm sorry. His character is terrible. Okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's a great
I have
character.
no idea why you say that. It's a very
Okay, just ignore me. It's okay.
No, actually, I will appreciate that because this is a little bit part of the message behind this session. When you talk about sales, I think that people get scared for a specific reason, which is you can quantify, you can say if a team is successful or not in sales. It's really easy, right? The person will raise an opportunity, will get a contract, or will not. It's really easy, and I think that scares people. It's different than other functions, for example. I'm not misjudging or saying that, for example, talent management doesn't have clear functional KPIs, or for finance. I think that the difference is the short-term effort and the short-term result is very clear. So when you speak about sales, it's pretty much you need to close a deal. But at the same point, if you take a look at what comes to your mind when you talk about sales, and that's what your members think, usually it's about the car seller or about the Wolf of the Wall Street. They think that there is this huge, how can I say, hard skill, soft skill toward in sales, and someone is very good, very, very, very good or not on it, which might be upsetting every now and then, because that's not what our generation likes. As Emma told, like today, when you think about this character, the Wolf of the Wall Street, it's not someone who you want to be, right? So how do you engage someone to perform sales in a generation that people don't want to be the car seller, doesn't want to be the Wolf of the Wall Street? If you keep that in mind, I hope that through this conversation, we can address this a little bit better. The first thing that you might think about is when you talk about, turn off your mic, man. When you think about the last call that we had, something that makes a lot of difference is people they have a hard time selling things that they don't believe, things that they're not passionate about. I think it's very easy to sell, for example, an Apple laptop. It's really easy to sell an iPhone. Why? Because it's a great product. I know it, I use it, and I know how great it is. So keep that in mind. If you have your members and they are not on board with what IGE is, they're not passionate about, they will never do it good. They'll never do it in a good way. If you keep that in mind, the last webinar that we had, we spoke a little bit about how to make people fall in love with the function. And you have PPTs, you have an induction agenda for that. So let's say that you have someone who is in love with this function, who wants to sell it because believes in its purpose. What comes next? Something that someone strives every day is with results in the function in sales, because it demands a lot of resilience. It demands a lot of effort, and you receive a no every day. So the first thing that someone who is doing sales must be aware is you must be results driven. And that means that there is no space for pessimism. There is no space for letting yourself down because things are not happening. And I know that's easier to say than actually feel it. However, let's take an example. You guys, you have been performing sales in the past days at least, and you might know that it's not always a flowers field. You have every now and then a problem. But if you don't keep in your mind the results orientation, you will face motivation problems and these kind of things. The first thing is we need to make this distinction between understanding what I'm doing in terms of activities and what I'm doing in terms of productivity. And you need to take a look at your team and see who are actually being productive and not working. Working the most is not always being the most productive. And let's take a look about what that means. I'm not sure if you know this man. Any of you know this man? George Paulo Leman? No? Yes? No? Do you know, John?
Jorge.
It's George. Actually, he's Brazilian, so his name is Jorge.
Jorge.
Do you know Jorge Paulo Leman?
No, I don't.
Okay. Jorge Paulo Leman is one of, he's a billionaire. He's a Brazilian billionaire. He actually holds an important part of market share in Brazil. Kraft Heinz is his in Brazil. The brand and the factories, it's his investments. Just to give you an idea about how powerful this man is. And he's also a reference in leadership in the country. And there is this this quote that I got from him that I freely translated to English, which is, I don't know successful pessimists. So you as a leader, if you are the one who is always sad because things are not happening, if you're not like the thing that keeps your team in motion, you will find problems. So my first challenge for you is motivating a sales team is, if you are not optimistic about things, your team is never going to be. Keep that in mind. I would like to talk to you also about the profiles of people you need when you are creating your team, when you're building the culture you expect them to have. There is this two categories for people who do sales: the builders and the growers. If you take in consideration, for example, the builders, most of you should be these ones, the ones who start things from zero, the ones who start things from the scratch. They have absolutely nothing set, things are a mess. I think that most of you are feeling that way, no pipeline, no IGT culture, my OC, but still you need to be the one who actually gets things to do from scratch. If you think about people who are located, for example, doing account management, usually are people that we could classify as growers. People who actually are more able to capitalize in things that already exist and not necessarily start things from zero. So my second challenge for you is, what do you have in your hands in your team? Do you have builders? Do you have growers? Do they know what they are? Do they know if they are builders or growers? And this kind of understanding will help you to see who is actually going to be more successful in your term. Cool? Is it clear? Awesome. There is something very important as a characteristic for a sales team, for someone who is a member of yours, which is the term coachability. In the sales community, people say that people who are open to receive feedback are the most successful ones. And this actually happens in a daily basis. So I'm gonna give an example. If I message some of you every now and then, and I do it, and I ask like a meeting, how a meeting went, how a call went, or something like that, I have a feedback right away about how things are, and I'm able to help you to get it better. I did it today, for example, with Emma. Emma was about to message, email a warm contact, and I saw the email she was sending, and I was able to say, hey, those small things, if we change, I think will be better. And she learned from something from it, which was very small. If you don't know on a daily basis what's happening with your team, and if you don't ask them how do they feel about it, it's not going to be very easy. Something that might help you to think. When someone goes to a meeting, before asking how the meeting went, ask how did you feel? What's the grade that you would score, in your opinion, from 0 to 5, for example, and why? And they're going to give you an idea about the things that they did well, the things that they didn't do really well, and you're going to be able to identify what they're most confident about, what they're not, and what is the functional knowledge that you need to give them. Make sense? It's pretty doable, right? Awesome. The other thing is there is no one-size-fits-all solution, meaning each one of your members, they will like something different. I'm going to say, for example, some of you, if I message you, you're really prompt response. You just let me know how things are. Others, you feel a little bit more, let's say, shy, and you don't share everything right away. Or sometimes I'm a little bit boring, and I upset you because I message you a lot of times. And I need to understand what is the level that I need to reach, what's how you like to be approached, how you like to be tracked, how you like to be spoken to. And understanding it, it helps a lot to make people perform more. For example, I know that like I can talk to John Haviv the whole day. I can literally talk to him the whole day, and I know like the details about what's happening because this is also his work ethics. That's a way that he likes to work. However, let's say with Tan, I know that I need to say, hey, how this is. She's gonna tell me, and I need to give her space so she can do more things and then come back to me and tell me what's going on. So I'm not sure if you have members working with you right now, but are you able to tell what is the best way to work with them? That's one of the other challenges. Clear? Yash, Patish. And then it comes to the thing behind people who work a lot, but are not productive, and people who are productive, but they don't do that much work, which actually is very subjective, and you cannot tell for sure. Something that I would like to keep in mind is there are people who are bad at a specific part of the process, and there are people who are better doing something else. I know members that if they pick up the phone and they do 100 cold calls, they will schedule at least 10 meetings. I know that this is going to happen if they have the chance to speak to a decision maker, to someone who they are approaching the company. However, if I have someone, I might have someone who is not very good at this, but if they go to a meeting, they're going to be the ones who get a second meeting for follow-up, and they're going to get a contract. So you need to understand what your members is better doing it, but you can't also use it as an excuse to do not do the rest, especially at the beginning of the process where you don't have a lot of pipeline. So for example, all members go to network events, all members do meetings, all members do cold calls, and with this information that they are going to generate, you're able to tell what they're better or worse at it. But 1 week from now, I expect you to have leads evolved in your pipeline about to close. That's the moment that you say, instead of sending this person, I'm going to send this person plus this other one who is very good closing deals. So I'm going to actually have more chances to make this happen. Does it make sense? Patish. If you remember, this is an example of a spreadsheet that I recommend you to use so you can organize in Portuguese. Thanks, Shiva. that you can organize your members and understand what they are good at. So something that I had this conversation earlier with Tiffany from Northwestern. She was asking me about like how she can capitalize on Podio to track people, etc. We need to understand what is the purpose behind the tools you're using and what you need, what you feel more comfortable using it to be a better manager. For example, Podio is the basic because it tracks history. It's not supposed to help you to actually manage a member or manage your pipeline at your best. It's supposed to help you to track history and understand how many interactions and how many meetings you're doing. However, this doesn't show you what people are the best ones. But let's say that you as a leader, you have that you update every week. You have this with yourself. You don't ask your members to fill out. You don't ask anybody to do it. It's you and yourself. And you allocate every week the pipeline you have available here. This brings you the clarity as a leader, the direction you need to say that maybe member one, for example, needs to do more lead generation or attend to more meetings because they're very bad at it. So I want to see if this person can be better. However, if I don't capitalize on my team leader and the member two, I will never get the proposals sent. I will never get a feedback from my lead if they're going to close a deal or not. What is the takeaway of this conversation, guys? Is Podio is not everything. It's the basic. It's supposed to be there. However, you can create other tools to make it more visible how things are doing there. For example, John uses a different tracker, right, John? What do you use?
Yes, I use Google Sheets with the GELCs to track their leads, and I'm actually going to probably it's something that I update to for me to be able to see how long it takes them to start booking meetings, and so that I can see for each LC, are they having activity?
Yeah. So in this case, he's tracking the negotiation since the first contact until the end. Here in this spreadsheet, I'm tracking what people are best at doing, these kind of things. So if you want to help, actually, I was hoping that for this call, I would be able to give you some templates, but I don't have that many. So John has an idea. Do you want to share now or you?
No, I'll make it.
Okay, John will make it, and then we are going to launch, and you can adapt that and use later. But I just ask you, avoid things that people need to fill out. I think that Podio is something very simple and basic to fill out, but if they have to do a lot of other tools, etc., you're going to get messed up. So just take the tools you need as a leader to manage. Is it clear? Patish. Shiva, seriously. There is something that I remember. I had this conversation with my LCP when I was VP IGT. I was kind of tracking, I was in a tracking meeting, one-on-one with my LCP, and she asked me she gave me a blank page, and she asked me to highlight how many hours my members worked, and how many of those hours were in our local committee, because in our case, like in Brazil, we have like physical offices, so it's cool, and how much time did they spend actually in a company. Why this is cool to understand? Sales teams, they must be on the streets. They must be in contact with their customers. If people say, oh, I'm doing market research this week, this is bullshit. This is not what a salesperson does. A salesperson is all the time in contact with a customer. If you take in consideration your schedule, and as a salesperson, if 80% of your time you are spending in an Isaac job, you're not in contact with a customer, you have a problem. And you are the one who actually must be the guardian of their time. So that's why I encourage you, for example, share Google Calendar with them. If they don't use Google Calendar, ask them to do it and start since the beginning of your term. Why? The best VPs are the ones who knows when their members have class, when their members are doing a workspace, when they are on the streets, they know where their members are and what they are doing it. And I'm not saying you to be a stalker, but I'm saying that you need to help these people to manage their time, and you also need to show them your schedule, so you can keep a very transparent culture in your team about how you're spending time in IGT. Patish, does any of you share Google Calendar with your teams already? Patish, so you are on track of that. Well, something that's very important, flexibility. Why I'm saying that? Because it's process in IGT is very important. So first, I'm gonna pick up I'm gonna make a call. If I don't have an answer, I'm gonna shoot an email. If I'm gonna put on Podio, I'm gonna do a follow-up in 48 hours. If they don't respond in 1 week, I'm gonna do a call to action. I'm gonna perform a code walk-in. You have like specific steps for this function. However, you need to be flexible. For example, you did like one code walk-in, the person didn't receive you. Maybe you did actually send them an email and they never answered. There are things that sometimes you kind of need to bend the rules. You need to do something different, or you need to be insistent, or you need to back off. It's kind of, as John Haviv says sometimes, you must see it and then you know it when things are supposed to be a little bit different and more flexible. So does it make sense? I know it's very subjective, but you know what I mean? Like follow the process, but don't get stuck at it. That's the idea. Yeah, I know it's typing. Yeah, actually was really a stupid conversation. John, really? Yeah, whatever. I hope you don't feel harassed in this call. Well, that's the idea behind flexibility. My other input for you is incentives. If you as a leader do not incentivize your team in a daily, weekly basis, there is something wrong. How do you incentivize our team? The first thing, you need transparency. So what I did, for example, with LCs focus in IGT, I sent the LCPs the monthly performance until last week, and I took like screenshots of spreadsheets that I use for my personal management of them, and I sent them screenshots. So every week I sent you the newsletter so you can see who are people doing shit and who are not doing shit. Including last week, we didn't have opens or realizations. Shame on you. But the thing about it is you must keep your team aware about what's going on so you can spark urgency. For example, Monday, we didn't almost have interactions. And then like my ISTs helped me with some of you, and we got a lot of updates. And I know now, for example, that we had at least 60, 70 interactions, companies interacted in the previous days. So this helps a lot to raise accountability. Small things that you can do. Every week, for example, do a weekly check-in. Like how I do with you sometimes, like we take pictures and say what you're doing, what are the priorities for the week. Take screenshots of the performance. If you open Podium and you see that your LC didn't have any interaction at the day, there is something wrong. So help your team like to keep itself accountable, and you're gonna raise a transparency culture in your team. And when you do it, you'll be able to celebrate and recognize. Why this is so important? Because in IGT, a negotiation like doesn't change from a week. Usually takes at least 10 days to get a positive answer from a company. That said, what I recommend you to do is small things. For example, if you have someone who achieved all the minimums, like the 30 code calls, 2 meetings that week, bring this person a chocolate and do a social recognition. You don't have to say much. Just say, hey guys, so to close this functionality meeting, I would like to give this chocolate to John because he achieved the minimums that we were expecting for this week. Thank you very much. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need like to open a conversation. Just this small action makes a lot of difference and makes people feel better about it. Is it clear? Awesome. Something that might be nice also is when you are in LCM, and if you do like members recognition during the LCM, justify why this person is being recognized. But also, guys, keep in mind that you cannot recognize mediocrity. You know, like just because someone did one interaction that day, you're not going to recognize this person for that. Like this is this person's obligation. This is like their job description. They're supposed to fulfill it. When they fulfill it, like for real, and you start seeing results coming from it, you actually recognize this person. Patish? Patish. something that might help you, is any of you have background, does any of you have background in IT? Like systems or engineering or any technical education background? None of you, I guess? Shiva does, okay.
I was an MIS major.
Oh, that's nice, that's nice. Why am I asking that? You must capitalize on people's ability and knowledge. So for example, I know that Tan, she has background in information system, so she understands the IT languages that we are trying to sell. At the same point, when you have someone who does business, John, for example, one of the reasons why I allocated him to work with GE is because he works in startup. He studied entrepreneurship, or at least he pretends he did.
Yo, I got straight A's, motherfucker.
Yeah, and I mean, this helps a lot. This makes a lot of difference when you have someone with a background. So if some of you, for example, are splitting two different teams, make sure that you are thinking about it. However, Vinny, I don't have someone with the background in IT, and I need an IT team. It's fine. You prepare this person later. You help this person to become an expert, or at least know the general information about it. But it's very important to understand that specialization at the beginning of the experience of this person is actually what's going to drive growth. Make sense? Oh, a small habit. Every week, you are supposed to look up random things on the internet. Like John, every now and then he sends me links about things that he needs to read and he would like me to read because it's going to help us in our job. So something that might be very helpful for you is do the same and send to your team, hey guys, I just found this article about startups. I just read this news about the number of companies that opened in our city in the past month. So these kind of things also help your team to become better and understand your market better. Patish, Vin, thank you very much. And then it comes to training matters. Why I'm saying that? Because as I told you in our last call, we usually start a team trying to give them functional training. What's wrong? You start first with the purpose, with the why of the things, with planning, and then you come to the functional part, but the functional part must come. But keep that in mind, 30% of what we actually learn in Isaac, it's not in conferences, it's not in LCMs, it's not in functional team meetings, it is learning by doing. It is doing my shit. But you need touch points to assure at least that this 30% of education is happening in a webinar base, how it's ours right now, or in a conference, or in a FTM that you want to address a specific sales technique, for example. So what I encourage you is show to your members what is the educational cycle that they're going to go through. So for example, hey guys, we are joining Isaac now. You're going to go through this induction. We are going to give you information about sales techniques in our next FTM. You're going to perform these tasks. Then you're going to go to Rocks. In Rocks, you're going to have more functional knowledge and understand about Isaac. When you come back, you're going to perform more sales. And based in your needs, based in the things that you don't get it, we will be able to actually address small things in your education gap. So you share with this person what is going to be the learning curve that this person is going through, and you must make clear that they will not know everything since the first beginning. And it's fine. It's okay. It's a learning curve that they need to follow. Okay? Okay? Awesome. Thank you very much. And then let's talk about key performance indicators. Why? Because that's the glue of communication. I'm gonna say something for you. For example, I tell you to do cold calls, and people don't do cold calls because they tell me, Vini, it doesn't work. But then I ask, how do you know if it works if you didn't do? And people tell me it's by Vini, I did 5 calls this week and none of them worked. A lot of voice messages. And then I'm gonna answer, but you did 5. How is it supposed to convert something? We know the conversion is low. This is a specific example about how is the communication between a strategy, something you expect someone to perform, but this person doesn't share with you the same idea they don't share with you the same idea behind how important this is. And you cannot let that happen with your team. So if you are expecting them to perform these KPIs, you must have positive feedback that they understand that that's what they are supposed to do. And if they don't do it, there is something wrong. Does it make sense? why this is important? Because you will follow this up with them every week because you're supposed to have small goals about it. Not small goals. We're supposed to have goals about it. And if they don't fulfill the minimums, you have a problem. There is a powerful quote about these things, which is, if we have data, let's look at data. So if you don't start doing these things, you never raise information. And if you're just expecting people's opinion, let's just pick one. So I ask you right now, please go with my opinion. Believe me, like cold calls, they might happen. Like cold walk-ins, they might work. Like Austin's results last year, at least 40% of the results in openings, it came from cold walk-ins. Like yesterday, Karan from Miami, Florida, he performed a cold walk-in, like he did like meetings in one day. And he got the feedback about who is the person he's actually supposed to talk, what is the structure of the company, and he got actually better understanding about what to do. So give me data, like raise information, raise volume of activity, and then you get this information to see what people are better at, and then you can move forward. Patish, we have been going through this during SNC, last call too, so I want to get myself stuck here. Today, also Tiffany from Northwestern, she asked me a very good question, which is about pipeline. Vinny, what do you mean about pipeline? It's all the companies that I have as a lead, or are things about to close? And then I thought that would be nice to have this differentiation. So you as a salesperson, you as a manager, you always must think about the forecast. What is the forecast? In a short term, what is the result that is happening? So if I have your forecast, you're going to tell me in my forecast, I have 3 companies. Each one of them is opening one opportunity by this date. This is the expectation that I'm raising towards these companies, and we are in process. They are interested. We are making this happen. However, my pipeline, it's all the companies that are in my pipeline, that exist in my CRM, and I'm managing, I'm in touch with them. Why this is important? The forecast brings you the clarity behind the short-term results you're bringing, but the pipeline shows you how sustainable your function is in the medium term. So if I'm not generating leads this week, that means that in 1 month, I won't be raising opportunities because I won't have leads. So you need to understand what is the part of the process that you need to focus to get a sustainable sales function. Make sense? Nope. Yes?
Whoop.
Yep. Okay. Something that might help as well. This is something that last year as a BD manager I did in my national team, which was how we distributed accounts. So for example, I would do a sales meeting with someone, with a company, and I would think that this person was weird. Like the conversation didn't go well, or I don't know, there was something weird that my personality, the way that I do sales, wasn't responding to the best way of that person to talk and do business. And what we would do, we would place in pairs. So I would try to get someone who was very complementary, like to my profile, and I would send this person, I would go with this person, and maybe the meeting would be better. So try to take a look at your team and see like which are the complementing profiles and who you think would be better to perform in a specific sale meeting. I'm sure you have companies in your pipeline, you have been in touch with some of them. You can think about like what would be the best person in my team right now to perform this meeting with me or with another member. Make sense? I actually did this week, like today, with Amanda Goodson. We received someone representing a South Korea organization, and they were like willing to open opportunities with South Korean companies. And he didn't feel very comfortable to do the meeting with the guy because of his style, and we got along. So these kind of things might help you as well. Patish? Yes. Okay, thanks, Nasli. And finally, empower your team. They must be independent. So what I mean is, if you think that you are going to give your team everything ready, and you're just gonna give them a sales call and a sales webinar, and they will be able to perform in sales, and it's gonna be amazing, etc., etc., etc. We have a problem. That's not how exactly it works. What you need is someone who is willing to take the risks and be independent, like work by themselves and like face the problems, get the notes by themselves, and go for it. And if you are expecting to be babysitting all of them, you don't need a team. You can do things by yourself. So if you don't have someone who you are actually saying like, no, you need to do this because I cannot do everything for you. If you cannot have these type of conversations, you might have a problem later. And finally, that's it. I saved more time for you actually. Questions. So do you? You're supposed to. Actually, shout out to Mel who went. I think Vera also went to the Women's March last weekend, and I asked like politely, not saying anything, a poetic license to do this. Ben and Mel, Madison and Austin were the LCs which did 3 sales meetings last week. So congratulations, you are like on top of that. Awesome, Olivia, awesome. So guys, do you have questions about what discussed before? Do you want any tips? You can open your mic, it's fine. If you're supposed to tell us like what is your biggest difficulty managing a sales team, managing your team in sales right now, what would be? No one? Like if you're supposed to tell us what is the biggest hurdle that you as a leader, as a manager, have managing your team in sales, what would be the biggest problem?
I think for me, it would be like with making sure that like members don't think there's like a cap on capacity, on like the limits of what we can do. Like, for instance, like being afraid to take on like a bigger sale just because they don't think that we can like source all talent and stuff, or like just thinking that like we already hit our cap amount for like the year.
Okay, just to see if I understood. It's like you don't know if your members believe that you have the capacity you need to deliver a big account.
Yes.
Okay, what did you do about that? What do you think would be the answer for that?
Tell them they're wrong.
Okay, yeah, that's true, but that's not how you address it. But how can I say? Turn off your mic. Yeah, thanks. How I would address it? Okay, I need to show capacity. I need to show it's possible. So if I need to, in a function team meeting, for example, let's say that you have 20 opportunities to raise in the next week. Okay, you can do a breakdown behind what is the job description you're expected, what are the countries you are expecting to have, what are the LCs you're working with, and what is the timeline, what is happening, when is happening the shortlisting, when is happening the interviews, and how you would organize the LC to do the delivery, to do pickups at the airport, to do IPS for all these kind of people. It's like a brainstorming process where you get people to do the solution. Why? Because if they're expecting you to tell them how things are gonna be, etc., that's the type of team that you don't need. You need someone who's gonna sit with you and brainstorm the solution. So some tips for that. I think Ben last week asked about how it was supposed to address a function team meeting. And I believe that every function team meeting can be different. You don't have to do something all the time, the same thing all the times. For this example, maybe a function team meeting could be only a brainstorming, and you can look up before, prepare yourself for the team meeting, and look up about how to conduct a brainstorming, and give them like blank pages, and say, okay, this is the question, what do we do? And get them to give you the solutions. You need to engage them with this, make sense? And not just say, of course, they are wrong, yes, they are, but you need to make them to help you to find a solution and break the excuses tree. Do you know what to do next? Do you know, Shiva? Oh, this is a yes for that? Okay, no, I just asked if you know what you do now about it.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, awesome. What else? I think that Melanie has a big team. Olivia has a big team. Ben has a team, at least. How are you doing, guys? What do you think?
My biggest thing right now is getting my members educated to a place where they feel comfortable doing their jobs, because all but 2 of my members are newbies. So, and a lot of them have like no clue.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest challenge right now is making sure that they have all the knowledge that they need so they can feel like they can do it. Because I've had multiple members to be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm like, I thought I told you, but I guess I didn't. So that's my struggle right now.
Go for it, John.
So the thing is, you probably did, and what they're going through, and I think I was talking to somebody, I think Mel, about this. It's members just need to feel like they have the confidence in what they like know, because, and so I'll find the graphic, but basically that like product knowledge, only 20% of it can usually be taught, and the other 80% is through like doing. And so like when we talk about this idea of like learning by doing in ISIC, it's actually like there's science behind it. And so it's how can you get them to leave like the meeting with the education feeling, you know what, I have enough. And the biggest thing that'll get them there is to just like sit with them. And I think you said you were doing this today, is to have them start doing calls and meetings, and all of a sudden they'll realize like, oh wait, I know way more than I thought I did from like just like sitting here and like listening and absorbing the information.
Mm-hmm. Something that helps is I always believe that a conversation where, what do you know? You tell me you don't know anything, but what do you really know? And this person is going to tell you a lot of different things. And in this moment, you're like, so you actually know this, this, and this. What you don't feel comfortable to speak about. That's another different thing. Like the fact that you know and the fact you're comfortable saying something is different. So that's what I would go for. And also understand, Olivia, what is the gap of the education that they have right now? So for example, maybe they know the product, but they don't know everything. For example, they don't know supply properly. What are the countries? So maybe this is small information is what helps. What we're gonna do also, for example, from next week on, we're gonna have webinars for members and team leaders about sales techniques with John, about supply demand with Dan, and about account management with Vera. And those calls, they are also supposed to help, and we also have rocks for that. The only thing that I ask you is there are 2 different things. The first one is I don't know, and the second thing is the behavior that I keep telling you that I don't know. You need to identify which one of these things is happening, if it's just a matter of behavior or it's actually an educational gap. And if it's an educational gap, you can just teach this person. If you don't know it, it's a chance to ask and learn as well. But yeah, that's it. Make sense, Olivia?
Yes.
Do you know what to do next?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, Mel, I think that like for Austin and Georgia Tech, you retained a lot of old members. I think that the biggest challenge is not actually just the operation itself, but also is a leadership shift, because you have different working styles than your predecessors, which is great. You're supposed to, and they are part of your team, and they need to accept that. So that pep talks that I spoke to you before in our previous webinar, and also about like getting how you expect them to behave, it's very important. If you didn't have this official conversation yet, it's really nice. And if you, something that you said, like people is lacking and getting away with it, the best way to avoid it is the touch point on a daily basis and the report. So for example, let's say that you get that table that I showed you with the companies that each member has in their pipeline and what they stage. If you send them every week and there is no evolution, like 2 weeks after people not achieving their minimum goals for the week, this person should be called like for, hey, what the fuck? and be in probation. So like if you don't perform, if you don't fulfill your job description again by next week, you might be fired. Do you feel comfortable, guys, to fire people now? I mean, not now after this call, but do you feel comfortable at all to fire people? No, I was just like, oh hell yeah, yeah. I fired 2 VPs of mine, so I know exactly what it is. Yeah, that's true. Like, I'm gonna be very. I'm what? What that means? What?
The black jeans.
I don't know. They're getting the black jeans. What is the black jeans, Tucker?
Yo, so when my dad was a plant
Yo.
when my dad was a plant manager, he would always wear black jeans on days that he was gonna fire somebody, and only on those days. The people like feared him when he walked into the building.
How does this
Oh my
relate to
God.
anything? How would this be like a common thing people know?
Yo, it wasn't supposed to be. I said it for myself.
Oh, all right then.
Okay, Nazi, see you soon. Bye. Take care.
I think every time you guys have to fire a member, you should send like a picture of you wearing black jeans to the VP group so that we all know.
Fuck, dude.
I have an idea. February, the last week of the February is gonna be the day. It's gonna be the week that all of you are gonna wear the black jeans if you have to, because by the third week of February is gonna show you if you need to fire someone or not. Doesn't matter if they are like newbies or the bullshit it is. I'm gonna make sure that we know who is the piece of shit who is holding your operations back. So we're gonna make sure they're gonna wear the black jeans and fire this person. Okay.
If you need to, don't wait till the last week of February. You can wear black jeans whenever you need to.
Yeah, I told Mikey that. I think, Mike, you had like one person who was kind of weird in your, like, working with you or looking at your team, right?
Yeah, but I've actually never spoken to that person, so at least like functionally, because I was on a different team last semester. But just talking.
No, you shouldn't fire them.
I don't think you should fire her.
They're a good member.
Yeah, she's switching to another team.
So the first thing is, so remember the last call as I told you, where I told you about like have an official conversation about how your team's gonna be. That's the moment. I also like don't wait. You get like to the classes starting for that. It's very important. Okay. Something that you firing someone is not a very easy process, and I understand. My recommendation is make clear what can get this person fired. And when you have in mind that you're going to fire someone, you must make clear that this person is in probation. Like it's a situation that they need to show you something different. It's like you need to say the heads up. If after the heads up and a deadline, let's say 1 week to improve your performance, if that doesn't change, just let it go. Align with your EB, align with your VPTM, but let this person go. And if you are actually like in a contact with this person, you will know if they're facing personal problems. Like the thing about being open and you have feedback and be coachable is related also to get to know these people and see what they're going to go through. Understand what motivates them and what they like and what they don't like. Remember, there's no solution fits all, but actually an understanding about how these people operate. Okay? I would take that as an okay. Ben is very quiet today. I don't understand what's going on. Are you okay, Ben?
Yo, just very overwhelmed. Got a lot of shit going on. Trying to process, like, especially my question was for my team was how do I get that feedback from my members, like, and know specifically where they're at? Because I have members at all different types of levels. Like, I have a member who's been in this function longer than I have. A member that joined at the same time that I have. I have a member that was a newbie last semester, and I have 2 newbies. So trying to train them and being able to train them at the same level when they've all had different experiences is something that I'm trying to get towards.
That's nice. That's a very good point. What I would recommend is define what is the first page for you. The first page for you is just because they're old members, for example. That means that they know for sure what is a supplier for all the subproducts. Or that means that they know for sure the vet your position or they know the timeline. That my recommendation is the final is the first page for you. And after that, see what you need to address in an individual level and what you need to address for the group. Because you cannot expect to train everybody for everything because they will need different things, of course, at some point of their experience. But I'm sure that there are some messages that you would like to reinforce, right?
Yeah. So my advice for almost everything is lie. But an easy way to do it with your older members is take advantage of the fact that ISEC is always changing. And so I would do this no matter like how long somebody's been in ISEC, but be like, oh, hey, this like just changed from WNC. Let's just like go over it, make sure we're on the same page. And then leverage those members that you have coming back to train the new people, because then they'll also start to like achieve more mastery. Like the goal should be that your older members at the end of the day know the product probably even better than you because they're doing more sales than you.
Yeah, that's true. Something, for example, all the LCs here, they are running IGE. The IGE that you are selling, the IGE that we are gonna, all of them.
Oh yeah.
All the GE that we are gonna sell from now on is very different than the GE that you saw before. And also even global talent, for example, if you're just focusing IT, like you're supposed to work with 2 countries. So the way you're doing before was wrong, is wrong already. So try to capitalize on that, okay? Ben, do you know what to do next? If you still have anything to say, you just can message me and John and can help you out, Patish. Awesome. Also, I was thinking like about these functional meetings that you're asking, like what do I do in my functional meetings, etc. If you keep your team in track like on a daily basis, you don't have to do something very big. So review the numbers, do a team moment, maybe bring a message behind like what is the national guideline, what is going on, for example, on a national level. This can help as well. And for all of you, what I would expect is bring information about what was the IGE summit, even like for you to start raising a culture of IGT, for example. When you get back to your next LCM after the IGE summit, would be nice to say, hey, guys, having 5 minutes to say, hey, guys, so I went to New York City and we had a summit and that was the agenda and that was really nice and now you're focused on that. So this also can reinforce the culture of your team, of your function for the LC. Patish? Now, let me ask you a question. Okay, Ben, just before you go, Ben, did you get it? Fuck Ben left. So, for the ones remaining, all of you, have you been in touch with 30 companies this week already?
Yes.
Yes. Tucker, okay. Olivia, okay. Steve, okay. Mel, Mike, just missing the 2. Yeah. Oh, that's very nice. That's very nice. Awesome. Tucker, we need to talk, buddy.
Are you? I don't know who that is.
What? Tucker Morgan.
I need to message him.
So we need to talk. Why? That's the point of the month. That's the last week. So if you're expecting to have your February opens goals achieved, you need to have the meetings scheduled for the first meeting of February already. So I saw that actually this week we had a lot of meetings yesterday, and we had just one today in Madison. But for Thursday and Friday we don't have more meetings. So just keep on track of that to see if you can convert something for meetings, so you can start February better than we started January and achieve your open goals. Okay, and update Podio, my dear. Thank you very much. And just to know, like, do you have on top of your mind what are your? Sorry, I didn't see recently this past hours, so that must be this. Okay, just so before we close, like, how you are checking out this call, and then I would like to hear you because you're so few. So just like 2-3 sentences about how you. Thank you, Olivia. How you're feeling after this call, and what is your open goal for February? Okay. Melanie, we can start with you. Okay, so you can type while Mike tell us how he's checking out and what is his open goal for next month. I feel like Mike, he just like
He's a weird
Hello.
dude.
okay, we can hear you.
Okay. So feeling good after the call. Hold on, I'm pulling up my goal for February. So if you want, you could skip to the next person when I find it.
Okay, you can message on the group, okay?
Okay.
Awesome. Olivia?
Nobody wants to talk to you.
No,
Vinny.
one's
No, my computer wasn't working for 3 seconds. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was 5, but I can't remember. It might have been 4.
Okay. And how are you feeling after this call, Olivia?
I don't know yet. Cause yeah, I'm not sure. So I guess I feel I'm not sure. So,
I like that. I like that. Being honest. Shiva?
Yes.
I think I know what you
Oh, like my goal?
Yeah, how you are checking out the presentation and what is your goal?
My goal is 3. My 3 are actually for IG. So like I'm looking forward. I need to update my Podio shit. But I have a meeting for IG next week, so hopefully that goes well because I really want to get those 3 opens.
Awesome. What did you say, John?
Oh, I was gonna say DC.
What do you guys say, Pop?
Oh, nothing. I think you're forgetting something that might be happening next week, but it'll come to you.
It's not the goal in the plan. It's fine.
So-
Tucker and Vet, we have 2 representatives of UGA here.
Yo.
They should each say what the goal is at the same time.
How are you checking out this call, Tucker, and what's your goal?
I'm feeling all right. We have interviews this week. For ICT, so I got like a bunch of. I like have to be there, and so it's like taking up a bunch of time, but it's cool. And then our open goal for February is 3, I believe.
Okay, awesome. Guys, I really believe that we have a very selective group of people in this call. So let me know if you need any help. I think that we are in a stage that I don't know. I have like maybe 2 people in the network that I know who are not working, but at most like you are driving and you're kind of leading the movement in IGT. So thank you so much for being this awesome network. And if you need help, you know who to message. Me, the NST, like we are all open to help you in a daily basis and help you with feedback as well. Okay? I'll take it as an okay. Thank you so much. You are all dismissed. This call is recorded. Also, the call from last week is also recorded. If you don't know, they're in the MEC channel on YouTube. So I can show you. I can send the link for you later. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good night, guys. Bye bye. What, John?
Forget it. No.
John wants to do his thing.
Mom, Dad, don't fight.
No, I'll just send it out to them.
What?
The PDF.
Oh yeah! Oh shit! This is
literally
awesome.
what I've been working on today.
This is awesome. So John spent like he woke me up at 9 a.m. at the morning.
Oh, I don't know why
to
that's
tell
a
me
ridiculous time to
shut
wake
up. So we were like, and he was putting his job in risk because he was supposed to be working for the startup, but he was working for Isaac, and he created an awesome guide that you do the sale. You sell what you did.
I don't need to sell it. The product speaks for itself.
Okay, it's pretty much a PDF which gives you actually a track about the questions you are supposed to be asking yourself as a VP about the activities for sales, approvals, and realizations. So I'm gonna to upload on Podio as well, and I'm gonna send the link to you. So just use and abuse and let us know if you need more help. Patish,
Yes.
you're so sad, all of you. Fuck you. It's Wednesday. You're supposed to be energized.
It's hump day.
It's hump day. Okay.
Yeah.
What is hump day?
It's like the middle of the week. You're getting over the hump.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.